From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Hey there, this is John from Pino Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pino Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as...
Filthy.
Okay.
Reprehensible?
Crude?
Sure.
Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
All right, so it's time for another episode of Pint O Comics. It is the show that keeps coming back week after week. It's like a 50s sci-fi movie, The Creature That Wouldn't Stop.
It's like
that would never stop.
It's like herpes.
It's like herpes, basically.
Wow.
So we're sitting around here. It is myself, Johnny Ganache, and then Sir John across the table from me. Over to the right, who is going to be driving the rest of the show. It is the Green Manster.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on? And then to my left, it is our special guest, Mark Mastel. Mark, what is going on?
Nothing. I'm tired, man.
You're tired?
We did the heroes. Let's do the villains.
All right.
So we're into the evil.
So this is the final episode. We're finally there at the end of our 6-part series, Heroes and Villains of Comic Books.
This is a pretty good beer.
All right. That's good to know. Let me finish up talking about what I'm talking about here, guys. 6 episodes, and we did Indie Comics with Lloyd, Heroes and Villains. We did Marvel Heroes and Villains with our friend Jerry Morgan from the great podcast Fistful of Jokes. By the way, check him out. I think every Tuesday and Thursday night now on YouTube, he's doing a live show called FOJ Live. Yeah. So he's been doing that for a while now. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, he's been killing me on the Thursdays.
I know. He asked me about Thursday, and I close at work on Thursdays a lot.
Damn.
I'm like, no, I can't do it.
And this, we did the DC Heroes episode, which you've already heard at this point, with Mark, and now we're doing the villains. So, Lloyd, why don't you get us right into it, start picking who you want to go, and let's talk about who our top favorite 5 DC villains of all time is.
All right, let's do this. First, let's talk about this beer here.
Sure.
It's called Spark Ale. It's a sparkling rosé ale with apple, cranberry, peach, and cherry. And who's the brewer on this, John?
It's right there. I can't read
Oh, there it is. 21st Amendment Brewery.
They're from California.
California. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's good.
I didn't get one, so I don't know.
It's in the fridge.
It's in your own fridge, damn it.
I'm drinking a Taco Cat.
Oh, he's still got Taco Cat.
Finch Brewing Company.
He is nursing that Taco Cat.
I also have an open Von Trapp Dunkel here, so
Yeah, and I've got a
Dunkel
another one
lager.
too.
Now, is your Von Trapp Dunkel beer on the run from the Nazis or no?
No, it's from the Von Trapp mansion up there in Vermont.
It's a joke because they were on the run from the Nazis, right? So
Did it kill Hitler?
the hills are
Moving on.
So Lloyd,
All right. So let's get into this. I'm going to go in reverse order. If you listen into our Heroes podcast,
okay.
Yep, we went John Ganache, and then Mark, and then John, but we're going to go reverse this time.
So what you're saying is, no matter what, it's a Mastel sandwich.
That's right. That's the way I want it.
It's a Mastel sandwich.
Mastel sandwich.
Oh, that's right. You
still
said
do
it
it.
right.
Hey, you know
Damn,
what?
that's
It was
all right.
just tonight. I'm gonna. By next time you see me and we talk, I'm not going to say that at all.
You're going to have to practice.
You should,
Yeah.
you should hear him trying to say Caprolozzi. It's kind of funny.
I get it. Right.
Caprolazzi.
I get it right eventually.
All right, so John, why
Yes.
don't we start with you? You're number 5 for DC villains.
Number 5. So there was this character called Amanda Waller. She's not my number 5. She's not on my villains list either, but she is in the list of characters that I would put on a villains list if she was a villain. But she's not a villain.
No, she's the hero in her own
She's a
head.
badass.
Yeah.
I love Amanda Waller. She is my number 1 favorite character of all time.
Oh, wow. So you're transcending everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
But my number 5 for the villains list
We're waiting with bated breath here.
would be, yeah, I'm going to have to do this. Madame Rouge.
Madame Rouge.
I don't even know if I know who Madame Rouge is, to be
I can
honest.
tell you I don't.
I know that. Are you
It
really?
might be on another list.
Wow. Okay.
right.
Madame Rouge. See, this is where Mark and I agree on certain things when it comes to the Doom Patrol. Madame Rouge is one of the best villains of all time for actually doing what she intended to do: kill her opponents.
Okay.
In 1968,
4.
was it that far?
Yeah.
1964.
Yep. Doom Patrol.
Oh, I know why, because the issue I got was a reprint, and that was in 1968. That's why I'm thinking it's like, yeah. So she kills the Doom Patrol.
Well,
You're getting to be like walking. I never know if another sentence is coming. So she kills
kind of.
Doom Patrol.
Well, yes, it's true. It's kind of. It is a kind of situation, and she doesn't do it alone. She does it with General Mortis. But
General Mortis, yep.
we don't really count him as much of a villain because he's 152 years old.
Was his first name
Rigger?
He looks like it. He
does, yeah.
Yeah. But Madame Rouge is such a good villain, and to the point where Marv Wolfman and George Perez brought her over to the Teen Titans series that they did in the early '80s, and made her an even greater villain. So
This is the first character not in the indie. 'Cause
I'm sure
you
she's
hit me
not
with a couple
post-
indies I didn't know.
Yeah.
This is the first character in the Big 2 series we did that I have no clue who this is.
she was vicious. She was one of the most vicious of the '60s villains, and female.
Yep. She could make herself look like other characters.
Yep.
Plus, she also could stretch and elongate herself.
Okay.
And it got creepier when Perez drew her stretching. It was just weird. Ugh.
And it was kind of weird to do. Can I spoil it on
Yeah,
the Doom
no, go
Patrol?
ahead. Yeah.
They basically take I think, in fact, it's in my notes. So the Brotherhood of Evil take over a small village, a small fishing village, and they basically held them captive.
And I will say this: the fishing village is Happy Harbor, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, and it all ties into the DC universe.
And so basically, they basically tell the Doom Patrol, kill yourselves, or else we will destroy this entire town.
Yeah, it's a bomb. What was it?
A bomb, yeah.
Yeah, some kind of bomb. And
So the Doom Patrol, A, kills themselves,
Yep.
and B, then gets canceled.
yeah,
And they just timed it just right. The book, the
It's-
sales were low, and they just said, let's wrap it up.
And
they
this was
did.
the first run.
Yeah.
yes,
the original
run.
yeah, the original run. Arnold Drake just
That is the way to end a series.
well,
how
that
did-
was the point.
How
yeah.
do they bring him back from that?
They kind of don't. Kupperberg did this thing in the '70s in Showcase, where he brings back Robot Man. Will Magnus of the Metal Men
Yep.
finds the remains of Robot Man on a shoreline, if I remember correctly, and then rebuilds him because his brain's still alive, but he gives him a whole new robotic body, and then there's a new Doom Patrol at that point. But basically, the Chief, Elastigirl, and Negative Man are dead from that point.
Wow.
But later on, things change, and certain people come back. So
As they always do.
yeah, not all of them. Not all of them.
Well, just in general, I mean.
yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting story. But there's some good stuff. Yeah, I love Madame Rouge. She's just vicious.
You blew me away twice so far.
Yeah.
We're not even done.
It's the Doom Patrol, man. I love the Doom Patrol.
No, but your first one from the villains or heroes.
All right. Well, with that, let's move on to Mark.
Move on to Mark. All right, so I basically have lined up all my villains to line up with my heroes. So my number 5 for heroes were the Metal Men, and my number 5 villain for DC is Chemo.
Chemo.
Basically,
Oh God, that thing!
yeah,
Really?
that thing.
What kind of thing is this?
Chemo was this man-shaped plastic container.
It's so awesome.
And he was like 18, 20 feet high, and all they did basically was just dump all this toxic waste and all these used chemicals into him. But for somewhere along
Like
the way,
Toxic Avenger.
Pretty much, but he's clear plastic.
Yeah.
And along the way, they poured in like some kind of like special growth serum, probably maybe even like from Alacolin, and it starts to generate with all these chemicals, and Chemo comes to life, and he starts walking around, and he can spew out of his mouth this acid spray.
Yeah.
And he basically is tried to thwart the Metalmen as many times as he could, and they constantly always defeated him.
If you read the Crisis on Infinite Earths, he's in it.
He's in that.
He's a
I did
major
read that.
player at one point.
All right.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna have
Chemo.
to go back and check that out.
Oh,
again.
you can't miss him because
He's, like I said, 20 feet tall, clear plastic with. He's got this goofy kind of just very simplistic face. He had like a speaker or something on his mouth too.
yeah, I think back then, they put something there.
And then the chemicals would just like bounce around and bubble around inside of him.
I just want to add to this real quick because I think this is kind of like serendipitous or funny. I didn't write it down here, but we have our list of readers at the end. And Dan from BoomTube Comics, he gave me his list, and then he gave me a quick thing of also Rand's kind of. And number one was Chemo.
Oh, really?
And today at work on my lunch break, I looked up who Chemo was. And so it's just funny that you're
really?
actually, and I don't know if you missed this or not, but I think they said the way he actually came to life, there was a growth serum involved, but one of the they thought it was a broken response meter.
Oh, is that what
fell
that-
into
fell in
in
there?
there,
Oh, okay.
and much like the Metalmen, that's what ignited him.
I should have said this earlier. I should have said this on the Heroes episode too. But for DC, if you're not a reader of DC Comics or want to be a reader of DC Comics, go out, dig through the back issue bins, and find yourself the entire series of the Who's Who that was published.
Oh yeah.
It's never going to be reprinted ever. There were 26 issues of the original run, and then there were 2 follow-up runs, Who's Who and certain.
That was the one Bob Greenberger worked on?
Bob Greenberger worked on it, and
Didn't John Byrne do all the covers, all those wraparound covers? Of all the characters?
Perez did.
Was that Perez?
Yeah, Perez did all those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I had a bunch of those as a kid. I don't have many more.
Yeah. Some of the follow-ups, I think Paris Cullins might have done some of them.
And the reason we learned from, I'm sure you knew,
Ty Templeman.
Okay.
we learned from Bob Greenberger at Terrificon a few years ago, the reason it's so hard to ever reprint those is because there's so many artists involved that it like if one issue has 50 different artists in it, to get 50 different sign-offs
way too many
on this,
permissions.
Too many permissions.
It was less that it was each and every artist had a different contract for that particular thing that they did, and they'll never be able to do it again.
Royalties would be a total bitch.
A complete and utter travesty of hard work to do for something that no one really is going to buy. So go out and find. They published plenty of them back then. You can easily get them for dirt cheap. They're great. They're absolute great.
I'd love to
stuff.
see that collected as like a 500-page book, like a phone book.
Yeah, you and me both, but it's never going to happen because it's not just the work that was put into the descriptions of the characters, but each and every piece was an individual piece of artwork that no one had ever done before. So they also tried to get as many of the original artists that they could, whoever was still alive.
And you had just not like the big name heroes and villains.
Right.
It was the goofy ones like the Chemo and some of these others that you just Madame Rouge.
Right.
Who you sit there and go, who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Excellent.
But anyway.
All right.
Moving on to John.
All right.
Number 5.
I'm gonna go with my number 5 is Sinestro.
All right.
Nice.
What I like about
pick.
Sinestro,
First one I've heard of.
Sinestro is basically the ex-best Green Lantern there was, who has his own ideas on what it takes to police the universe, and it doesn't line up with what the Guardians want, so he ends up becoming the bad guy. And for me, one of my, I guess my drawing points of Sinestro was like the Super Friends cartoon when I was a kid. He was in that, and Sinestro has a very particular look. He's a purple fucking alien. He looks like big head, purple alien with a little Clark Gable mustache, and he wore that blue outfit. And then like later, as time went on in the comics, he eventually formed the Yellow Lanterns? What do they call it? The Yellow Lanterns?
Yeah, because his uniform is yellow.
His uniform was yellow. His power was based on fear as opposed to based on willpower. And I like the idea of this is a guy that was once he wasn't like a good Green Lantern. He was the best of the Green Lanterns, but he was a arrogant, snobby, know-it-all fuck.
So when he was first introduced, was he a good guy at that point, or when he was introduced, was he already
honestly,
turned?
I honestly forget if he was introduced as a villain first or if you found that after the fact. But that goes my Green Lantern knowledge of the early days of Hal Jordan.
I won't lie. I don't know how they did it, but they did. Either they brought him in as a villain and then explained his backstory. But he was the one that
I'm sure it was a villain first, and then you learn after the fact.
Right.
But
so basically, the idea is
I don't really
an
know,
ex-cop that becomes a villain,
Right.
And I always liked him, and I like the fact that he's one of these characters that has a lot of he has a code, you know what I mean, and he does have an idea of what he wants. He wants order in the universe in a certain way,
Right,
and just not the way the Guardians foresee it. And so I mean, it gives him a lot. There's a lot of villains out there that don't have any real drive behind them. This guy has drive.
Yeah, this guy knows what he wants.
He works a job and he knows better than his bosses.
Yeah.
He's that dude.
And he's probably about the only good thing about the Green Lantern movie.
Yes.
I was almost going to say that.
I actually
Mark Strong knocked it out of the park.
I think John doesn't really hate that movie.
Neither does John.
No, I don't.
Both John.
We will both go down on that ship.
Yep.
I still enjoy
I watched it again not long ago.
Yeah, but those CGI suits suck.
They're
not terribly.
They suck.
I have more of a problem with the fact that it seems like he's playing Kyle Rayner than he's playing Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
But the suit,
not all of it, but some.
Yeah. Yeah. I give that movie a pass because
it's not terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, all
I
right.
agree. You heard it here.
Sinestro.
Yeah,
When I
Sinestro.
did my little bit of research of this, Sinestro was showing up on a lot of villain lists.
He's a cool villain.
Yeah.
I'm not all that familiar with him.
And again,
I know him, but
He is not on my list.
The power ring on its own is such an awesome idea.
Just remember this too: is that his original power ring, which was created by the Weaponers of Cord from the Antimatter universe. Yes, I know this. If I remember right, there was only one weakness to it. Might have been the color green, for all I remember.
Yeah.
Because originally the color yellow.
Was the weakness to the Green Lanterns. Yeah.
Which is why when he had the yellow ring, it was a big deal.
Which I did. I know you don't like Jeff Johns, but I did like the way Jeff Johns actually made that.
I like Jeff Johns. I just think he pushes things too far,
Right.
and everyone thinks he's the, well, I'm going to be nice about it. Everyone thinks that Jeff Johns is the bee's knees, and guess what? He's not.
So for 50 years, people kind of laugh because that for no known reason, yellow is the only thing that the Green Lantern's power can't work on.
that's what I know about him.
And Jeff Johns figured that he made this character Parallax that was the entity that actually took over Hal Jordan. So you're able to redeem Hal Jordan and say he was not actually bad. He was inhabited by this parasitic yellow entity called Parallax. And when the DC universe finally the heroes defeated Hal Jordan, they banished Parallax into the main power battery on Oa. And that's the reason that their power doesn't work against it, is because you've had this thing in there that's basically draining off of their power source and causing a corruption in the system.
All right.
I always like that idea.
Yeah.
So Sinestro, number 5.
Sounds good. All right.
There's some,
John,
there's
you're
some
number
flaws
4?
in that whole plot, but regardless.
Oh God.
The only reason is because someone had already gotten rid of the yellow flaw in the ring prior to that. So that's
but still, I like the idea.
no, I that's fine. What are we on number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4 is a tie.
How do we have
tie
fucking
for number
ties?
4?
There's no tiesies.
That's
No,
crazy.
I'm sorry, but there's a tie.
All right.
There's a
All
tie,
right,
and it's only because of someone you brought up
All right. I'll allow it.
for the.
Can you make a rule though that it's allowed to be a tie, but you can only get into depth on one of the two?
Okay.
And it's my fault, too.
I'll do real quick synopsis on both of them. It's real easy. It's a tie between Despero, a Justice League of America villain, and Clarion the Witch Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had to put Clarion in there somewhere, and removing Despero just doesn't work. Despero is one of the greatest of the Justice League villains. Fin head,
Purple mohawk, fin head.
yeah, and whatever orientation the fin goes, it doesn't really matter because apparently it changes throughout history.
Does he have a third eye?
He does.
Yes, right.
And my favorite iteration of him is when he's playing chess. You remember those? the covers of the Justice League where he's playing chess against someone else for the lives of the Justice League. It's great stuff. He was a alien despot, basically.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Loved him. Clarion, on the other hand,
just a spoiled little
teenage little shitbag that,
with awful hair.
Oh no, come on, it's the best hair ever.
All right, what's his hair look like?
It's black with little wisps,
and it curls up on the sides, and he dresses like he's a Puritan,
Puritan,
from
Puritan schoolboy.
Yeah,
and now he's on Justice League Dark.
He's got a cat.
That scares me.
Yeah. Which turns into a tiger.
Yeah, it's Tikal the demon cat.
The only Clarion I've honestly ever read was when Morrison did that shitty. Remember Seven Soldiers? Ugh. Clarion had a title in
that version of Clarion I was not a fan of. It was okay, but you can't beat what Kirby did. Mm-hmm. You honestly, if you read the Demon series that Alan Grant wrote, his version of Clarion was just such a shitty little shit.
See, and I guess I didn't
realize. Just wanted to kick this kid.
I guess I didn't realize that Clarion was actually a villain. I always thought he was kind of like one of those.
Oh no, he's a complete villain. It's all about him. You should watch some more of the animated stuff because he's all over the animated series.
Okay,
yeah. But anyway,
all right,
there you go. There's number 4, part 2.
Right. Despero and Clarion the Witch Boy.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you're number 4.
Oh, you're surprised, are you?
I am. You're blowing my mind.
He does that with all his lists.
He does. All right, so my number 4 is a team. Again, relating back to my my heroes, the Brotherhood of Evil.
Oh yes,
1964. Yes. So you've got the Brain, which is basically just a brain encased in a metal skull.
I have to say this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Who else?
His henchman was Mansur Mala, which was an intelligent gorilla.
Oh, the gorilla.
Mansur Mala.
They're on my also rant.
Which you pretty kind of think that's where Mike Mignola got his talking apes.
Yeah.
From, and also too, he also has what was it, Colonel Klimpf, who's also like a floating head in a jar type character.
Yeah, that sounds like Mignola too.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to the Brain.
Yeah, right.
Then he had General Immortus, who wasn't really a full-time partner or character, but they brought him in, and then of course Madame Rouge. They were it, except for that
was it. It wasn't Gargo.
There was Gargo, the weird alien.
Yeah,
but he wasn't in it much.
Okay.
So between
Gargo, the French alien.
Yeah. So between
they had occasional team members that would come in and out.
They did.
Yeah. Back then, and when. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but then once let's say besides the Brotherhood for the Doom Patrol, it was like the Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man,
who almost made my list as well.
Wait.
AVM.
Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man.
Yeah.
He could turn literally on a dime from an animal to a mineral back to vegetable.
The asparagus and
Sweet Jesus. How many issues did this original series run?
Oh God.
Is it available in collected form?
Yeah. I have the first 2 collected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's probably
you're looking at 60 plus issues.
Okay.
Not to
is
mention,
it collected is it available in collected form complete though?
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is I hate when I can only find
here's the
trade
thing.
3.
Yeah, I hate
what
that.
happened towards the end of the series. They started doing reprints, so the book ran for a lot longer than you think it did, which is why
it was part of the DC Archives line that they did with the black covers,
right.
The big V in the front of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Animal, Vegetable, and Mineral Man. And the thing is, there's this one great image of him split into like all these different
versions
aspects with his almost like a big dinosaur head. It's the best image of the character. Kind of reminds me of the Final Thing creature.
Okay.
From John Carpenter with the big head.
You got the dog sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this thing has got part of its one leg is scaly, one leg looks like wood. There's a tree limb. There's a big dog head. They used them on and off. It was an okay character.
He's kind of a goon, really.
Yeah.
There's like no real menace.
When other characters referred to him, do they call him Animal,
Vegetable, Mineral Man?
Sweet shit! I've got to read this. Let's write that down on our list.
It's on I've got a list going here.
Let's go to a comic shop and find this.
And then there was Mr. 103. Remember him?
No.
He wasn't part of that group. He had abilities to utilize every part of the elemental
periodic table.
Yeah, the periodic table. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. That's a cool power set.
And then when they found out there was another element, he became Mr. 104.
104.
And then they killed him in the Suicide Squad.
And the other weird thing about it, what's funny is that okay, so the Brotherhood of Evil came out in 1964, and then like we said with the Doom Patrol and the X-Men, now all of a sudden
The Brotherhood of
Evil Mutants,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So let's just tack on an extra word. Literally, that's
there you
it.
go.
You know?
That's all you need. One more word.
One more word.
It was another team.
Oops.
Oh boy.
That's all I can say. Stanley ripped another person off.
Just to add to that, because of the ties between the Doom Patrol and the Teen Titans that Marv Wolfman and George Perez did, the Brotherhood of Evil came about again with a bunch of new input. So you had Plasmus and Warp and Hungan, the African.
Yeah, remember him.
That guy.
It didn't live up to the original.
Hungan was like a techno voodoo guy.
Yep.
It was really weird. Oh, and what the hell was the girl's name? Phobia, who could make you think of your greatest fear and completely.
Was this Grant Morrison stuff? Or
No.
Okay.
This was Marv Wolfman.
Wow.
It's good stuff. Plus, it's Mala on the Brain because Manjur Mala and the Brain are the.
They're it.
They're it.
They're fantastic. Yeah, realistically, it was the Brain, Mala, and Madame Rouge.
They are the best. They're on my list because they're some of the. You can't separate the two of them because they are a pair, and they are some of the best villains in DC history.
It's like Hall & Oates.
Yeah,
Just doesn't work.
it's just it's
Solo
a talking,
Oates is no Oates.
talking fully intelligent gorilla and a brain and a tube.
No, he was
Well,
almost like in a
that.
metal skull.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
He had a design to him. But
All right, I got to pick these
All
books
right,
up.
yeah. So let's go on to John's number 4.
Number 4. Numero 4 for me. Here's a character.
Captain America.
What's that?
Captain America.
It is Captain America. This is a character I think
Stan Lee.
can probably be classified maybe as an anti-hero now.
Jim Shooter.
No, shut the fuck up. No, it's a character that probably could be considered anti-hero more now and nowadays.
Dan Didio.
But no, your buddy Floyd Lawton, Deadshot.
Oh, Deadshot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love Deadshot. I think he's going back to the Suicide Squad from the 80s, the stuff that I've read, stuff from Batman titles, back in the day when he was more of a villain. Nowadays, when you read I don't read that stuff, but the Suicide Squad and the movie, they've made him into more of a
Let's not talk about the movie.
yeah,
Let's not talk about
more of a. By the way, can we just mention this real quick? Suicide Squad, the new Suicide Squad movie, the second one, the title.
There's a second one?
They're making it. James Gunn is
No,
making
I know.
it.
Yeah, James Gunn is making it.
The Suicide Squad. That's the title of the
it?
movie. Yeah.
I heard it's not a reboot, but it is a reboot.
It's going to have all new characters. They haven't announced them yet, but it's going to be all new.
They have.
No, I looked it up. That wasn't.
That's fake?
That was fake.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
because when
They're
they said
not going to do
Swamp Thing,
Slipknot again?
Yeah, no.
well, no, initially they threw out Chip, and they threw out Swamp Thing.
And you know why that was? Why that they picked those? It was fake.
Guardians of
Rock,
the
yeah,
Galaxy.
Groot, yeah. No, so but that's the actual title of the sequel. Is they're calling it the Suicide Squad. So we've
Maybe it'll be Rick Flag and the rest of the morons that no one cares
so
about.
Deadshot basically. Here's a guy who.
You look like
We need some video here for Mark.
She was awful.
who?
The Enchantress. She
Oh.
was awful.
Oh,
She was just awful. She can't act.
Just
And
no.
oh my God, she was terrible.
It was not good.
No comment.
not a great movie.
I mean, it had some okay things. Boomerang was all right. Margot Robbie stole the whole thing because of
Yeah.
know,
because you'd like to
because of the
tongue
shorts.
punch her
Why?
in the fart box.
Oh, that's right. That's an actual Twitter.
Did you see that the Jimmy Kimmel thing?
Yeah, I saw it.
When she actually reads off her mean tweet.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie's not that good of an actress, but I sure would like to tongue punch her in the fart box.
All I know is Clint Eastwood's kid was in it, and he was pretty good.
yeah. He was all right.
All right, so Deadshot, I dig the character. I like the whole idea of his, not his, he has no powers, his skill. He's a expert marksman. He's a guy that's going to go and basically he's criminal for hire, assassin, whatever it may be. Physically, visually designed.
He has his
he's
eye
awesome.
on you.
He's got that reticle over the eye.
Who designed him?
I'm gonna say I don't know, but maybe I'll just throw out John Ostrander. I don't know.
No, that would be
He's
the
a
writer.
writer.
The writer, right. I don't know who.
Marshall Rogers.
Marshall Rogers, who did a lot of Batman stuff
designed
in the 70s.
that
All right.
version. That
Yeah.
version, because when his
He
original
originally had
appearance-
like a trench coat and a hat, right?
yeah, he was in a top hat and
yeah.
kind of a tuxedo looking thing. But yeah, by the time the costume that everybody knows now, Marshall Rogers.
You know, I'm looking at the list here, and John and Mark are going real deep.
I never said with DC especially.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
No, I didn't know who the fuck Animal Vegetable Mineral Man was.
I know.
You don't expect me to go deep.
Hey, when he was talking about it earlier, I didn't see Chemo or however you want to pronounce it. I didn't see that as being the villain for the Metal Men. I completely forgot about that. I thought you were going to go even deeper.
They didn't have a lot of villains.
No, they didn't.
They
So-
didn't.
All right, let's find out
that's
how
great.
deep.
Let's see how deep John goes on his next
Jeep?
pick.
How deep can you go?
How deep is your love?
How deep is my love?
See if he goes balls deep here.
need to know.
I'm going to go very, very deep, but it's a name that everyone knows.
All right.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So we're going to go all the way back to the 40s.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And you're still going to know who it is because he's still a relevant villain.
All right.
Vandal Savage.
Ah,
All right.
Vandal Savage is one of the most fulfilling villains I have ever read about. He's just,
He's timeless.
yeah, basically.
Literally.
Yeah,
Right.
It's a very, very good way to put it. But it's just, the more the writers of the modern day have realized how great this character was, it's only added to what he can be or what he has become.
Yeah.
and that's added to it. So he's so much more than a Lex Luthor.
And for people that don't know, this is a caveman
Yeah.
who, what was it, through magic or was it just through?
There was a meteorite that crashed, and he and one other character who eventually became Immortal Man. That's what they called him, Immortal Man. Yeah, touched the meteorite, and Vandal Savage became immortal, and Immortal Man would die and be reborn.
Oh, Resurrection Man.
No.
No, okay, all right.
That's a different.
Okay.
No, Immortal Man died during the Crisis, so the original Crisis.
And didn't Vandal also, besides becoming immortal, he also became super intelligent?
Yes. So the two of them fought throughout history, but the weird thing is Vandal Savage never actually dies, while Immortal Man, the hero, dies every time
And comes back.
And he usually at that time he would wear a medallion that was made of the meteorite
Okay.
somehow, and eventually in the Crisis they killed the character off, and that's when Resurrection Man comes about, and it ties into that somehow, if I remember correctly, because I read that awful series too. But
Yeah, my daughter would definitely approve of this pick.
From
Yeah.
the Legend show?
Yeah, from
Because,
Legends.
you know, again, whether you like the show or not, they did use him as a villain.
Yeah, they
Definitely.
did, and the actor they got to portray him was pretty good.
Yeah.
Although I really, really wanted to reach through the screen and strangle him by the end of the series because I was just sick of hearing him say anything.
Yeah.
He had a weird, I don't know, Eastern European way of speaking that just drove me fucking nuts.
I'd like to see a list of your triggers. I just want to get you
that one. I don't know what it was with that guy. He would say his enunciation on S's and it's just
Get him in a room talking
Didn't
to
he
Katie
show
Lotz.
up before DC Legends? Wasn't he on maybe Arrow or?
Yes,
you know,
he did.
yeah, I
He
think
did.
he was in one episode of Arrow.
It was
possibly.
it was to spin off the Legends series
Yeah.
and series.
You have issues.
Very nice.
I do have issues. You have
You're
no-
just noticing that.
This motherfucker has subscriptions.
Have you met me?
John has so many issues, he has a whole rack of them.
Well,
Yeah.
just look at my name.
I don't know.
All right, let's go on to Mark's number 3.
Dark Side. The big bad. I mean,
You pronounced it side.
I did.
Yes.
Even though it's SEID.
I know. It's,
Kirby launched it, with Orion and the Forever People, and then he spun it off. He created this entire world. And at that point, Kirby was basically DC stole him. Carmen Infantino said, "Come on over. We'll give you some.
Yeah.
If you're tired of working for Stan, come on over, and we'll let you do whatever you want. You get carte blanche. You can write it, you can draw it, you can edit it, you can do pretty much everything, and we're going to pay you a fee for every single one of those tasks." And I'm sure at that point Jack was like,
That's a win-win.
"Hell yeah!"
Man.
is Carmine still kicking?
I think he's gone.
Is he? Yeah.
Pretty sure he's gone.
That's too bad because he would show up at New York Comic Con and no one would go anywhere near him.
Yeah.
And it was sad because he'd be over where the Golden Age artists were, and a few people would get their attention, but he'd be all by himself. And I'm like, oh man, I'd love to go talk to him, but I don't need any more bitterness in my life.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I always gave him a lot of credit for being an editor and a writer, but I always hated his artwork.
Yeah, his art.
He would pointy noses on everybody, and he liked to do that 3/4 behind shot. So you see that pointy nose and just the poses. Oh, yeah.
He's the man that designed Captain Boomerang. So.
Oh, is he? And that makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, you're talking about Dark Side or Seed, whatever the fuck he's called. What I always liked about him is those Omega beams. Those fucking crooked lasers that shoot out of his eyes. I never got that.
Never miss.
Yeah, what is Darkseid's main thrust? Like, what drives him?
He is the domineering leader of the planet Apocalypse.
Yeah. And he's Highfather's.
There's this whole thing where they traded kids early, and
Highfather traded Scott Free.
Scott Free, the Miracle Man, went to
Apocalypse, and Orion
went over to New Genesis.
Yeah.
Darkseid wants the anti-life equation.
Yes.
That's his entire...
His whole thing is the anti-life equation. Yeah. And he shoots laser beams out of his eyes that go crooked.
Yeah. And if you want to read something following that storyline, Cosmic Odyssey, written by Jim Starlin, drawn by Mike Mignola, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's a great series. Yeah. 4-issue series. Prestige format was done in the late 80s.
Yep.
That's where Jon Stewart does a bad thing.
Yep.
Oh, is that where he destroys the planet?
Well, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He doesn't save him?
He doesn't save him.
Right.
Because of his arrogance.
Right.
Okay. And it affects the character for over 15 years.
Oh, no. The only reason I know about it is because reading Green Lantern books, when I was reading them, they still referenced it.
It was such a great thing. And it was a bunch of weird characters thrown together in this thing that they were trying to...
Yeah, Batman, Superman, Bug,
one
of the Apocalypse characters, Starfire, Hawkman.
Starfire, right?
Didn't you bought? I think on Boom, didn't you buy Mr. Miracle?
And
yes, I've got Mr. Miracle. Yeah,
Light Ray wasn't he?
Yeah, Light Ray's in it.
Was in it.
Dr. Fate shows up later.
Right.
Apocalypse, Highfather. Yeah, it's a great.
Weird, yeah,
he just looks really cool too.
It's Mignola. Before Hellboy, long before Hellboy, and it's Mignola doing superhero still.
All of the New Genesis, Apocalypse, Kirby characters, the Fourth World characters, look really cool.
Yeah, they do.
The design is incredible. Mr. Miracle.
Wow.
The suit, I think that suit's
Granny
awesome.
Goodness.
Granny Goodness.
I do too, yeah.
Granny Goodness,
Big Barda.
Granny Goodness, who will always be in my heart as voiced by Ed Asner.
Ed
Asner voiced Granny Goodness on the Justice League cartoon. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's casting beyond belief. Oh my god!
Now, who did Darkseid? Was it Clancy Brown?
No,
was Michael
Ironside.
Okay.
From the Superman animated series to the Justice League.
So, okay.
We got the Clancy Brown connection.
Same thing with Granny Goodness.
We got the Clancy Brown connection here.
Superman to Oh God, Ed Asner.
Yeah, Darkseid
is such a great choice.
Yeah. that whole story, all those characters,
so
just
weird.
Yeah.
Kirby.
All right.
So
stuff. Moving on from Darkseid, we're moving on to John's number 3.
I'm super embarrassed after you called out the fact that my list is your list is basic.
That's what I was saying, right?
Listen up, bitch. Your list is basic.
It's all basics.
Well, it's going to get about as basic as it can get right now. Because my number 3 favorite villain in the DC universe is the Joker.
All right.
The Joker, and just real quick to get into it, the Joker, for me, the thing about the Joker that I've always liked reading about the Joker is, I think earlier we were talking about characters that have motivation.
Yeah.
Right?
He's got motivation.
Well, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
That's the thing that's crazy about the Joker is that Sinestro has a motivation. He wants the Green Lantern Corps to do what he thinks they should do.
All right.
The Joker's sole motivation is that he's totally insane.
That's true. All right, I see where you're.
If I had to pick one character in comic books period, or at least the big two, that I would not want to be alone in the room with, it would be the Joker.
Yeah, he's insane.
Because he's totally insane. You don't know what he's going to do at any second. And again, he has no real motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he hate Batman? He doesn't hate Batman because Batman stops him from doing crime. That's why a lot of these characters, Lex Luthor hates Superman because Lex Luthor is what do you want to call it? An anti-alien. He's kind of like a xenophobe. He hates Superman because Superman is different and is powerful and scares him. Joker hates Batman because Joker's fucking crazy.
I don't even
Right?
think he hates Batman. I think he loves Batman.
In a way he does.
Yeah.
That was
In
one
a
of the things that
brotherly
they
way. Yep.
that was one of the things that they did wrong, even though I love the movie in the 89 movie, is that they gave Joker motivation to hate Batman by saying that he's the one that knocked him in the pit and changed him, and when they made that Jack Napier thing. And then, also by saying that he shot Batman's father and mother, and they kind of gave him this cross motivation.
Yeah.
Batman only wants the Joker stopped because he knows how dangerous the Joker is. And the Joker only wants to cause havoc because he doesn't care about money. He is anarchy, he's chaos. And again, he is, to me, the scariest villain, period,
Yep.
in any of the comic book universes, in terms of just because there's no sheer motivation. In the end, you don't know what the fuck this guy's problem is, other than he's just fucking insane. So that's why number 3, Joker.
That's it. No, that works.
Pick. Good
Interesting. Interesting.
All right, John, you're number 2.
Not the Joker.
Not Joker.
Let's see here. Let's look at my list. It is not going to be Clayface. Clayface is on the list, but he's not on that list. Guess which Clayface I'm talking about?
Probably not the Basil.
Basil Carlo?
Yeah.
It is the Basil
Oh,
Carlo
okay.
version, yeah. I actually thought that was the best version of Clayface ever. And apparently he's a hero now?
He's on the. He's in Detective Comics. He's one of Batman's. I don't read it, but he's part of Batman's crew. Batman has a crew. What's up?
Which I'm okay with. If you ever read the Mud Pack.
Yo, Clay.
Yes, the Mud Pack.
Yeah.
Jim Aparo,
Yeah.
right? That was Jim Aparo, right?
No, that was Breyfogle.
Oh, was it? Okay, I love that. I did read that.
That was really good. Bringing Basil Carlo back into the realm of Clayface
Right.
again after all these different versions of Clayface had superpowers where he didn't.
That was the.
And then he got him.
That was the Clayface on the animated series too, right?
No.
It wasn't Basil Carlo.
No, that was
Okay.
Matt Hagen.
Matt
the-
Hagen.
the second Clayface.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's also not the Ending Monitor who killed Supergirl and the Flash. But
I like how he's sliding in these extra characters without.
This is
clever.
This is grade Z
Come on,
list.
Lloyd, you've been through this before.
I know.
You,
We've done
you know
that.
how it works.
I know.
It is also not the Animator. But number 2, I'm going to go with one of the best nemesis of all time for Swamp Thing, Anton Arcane.
Oh yeah.
I know, you're going to get all angry at me.
freaking hate you.
That's why.
He steals my number 2.
you're in the middle
You steal this one. They're killing me.
Anton Arcane, the most vile, vicious, and nastiest of all of Swamp Thing's villains.
Kind of the definition of a mad scientist, right?
Sure.
Plus immortality. He wanted to live forever.
Yeah.
No
he
matter
was-
what he did.
And even after he was dead, he couldn't be stopped.
Came back.
His weird collection of unmen.
Unmen. The
Unmen.
Unmen were so good.
Yeah.
The Unmen were so good that Vertigo decided to do an Unmen miniseries, which was not so good, but it was drawn well. Vince Locke.
All right, Anton Arcane.
No,
Very good.
did you miss that one?
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it? You don't like Vince Locke?
I love Vince Locke.
All right, then. Did you write it?
All right, Mark. What was your number 2?
You wanted to, didn't you?
Anton Arcane.
All right.
Fuck a duck. Damn.
Next
Yeah.
time you can sit in this chair.
That's what's bad about being in a sandwich.
Yeah. But what a sandwich. I'm what John said. No, Arcane. I mean, Arcane.
Arcane was awesome.
He came in at issue number 2. They just wrapped him. Well, they wrapped him a few years ago with the Yannick Paquette character.
Oh, see, I don't know.
With the Scott Snyder and Yannick Paquette, when they finished up their 52, basically when they wrapped up that last 12th issue, boom, they think they got rid of Arcane. Now, whether or not they'll ever bring him back, and again, I don't know what they're going to do with
did he
Swamp
have?
Thing.
Did he have like spider legs and bug eyes?
He did.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no,
nice.
they fully creeped him out.
In fact, they made him where Swamp Thing was the like the Herald of the Green.
Okay.
Arcane was the Herald of the Rot.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked all that
I
stuff.
should.
yeah.
We should probably say too that in the Swamp Thing storyline, there's Abby Arcane, who is Swamp Thing's woman,
right.
Yeah.
essentially, which is also
She eats
Anton's-
the fruit from his back.
It's a niece.
It's his niece.
Niece.
Yeah, his niece,
I remember
who
right,
who he absolutely lusts after.
Yeah. Well, Depending on who's drawing her, yeah.
with the funky white hair and the
Yeah.
black stripe through it.
And the cut off jeans that aren't really cut offs, they're more like bathing.
She is way too. She's way too hot to be banging a log.
Painted on.
Yeah. There's all that. So, but so there's that.
And then she was married to Matt Cable for a while.
Right, Matt Cable,
Which
who
was,
ends up becoming.
I'm learning from reading. He is Matthew the Raven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shit, I love Sandman.
Well, that's
Cool
just
stuff.
Neil Gaiman throwing that in there too.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Well, good for him. Thank you, Neil Gaiman, because that's a
right.
cool little tie.
So yeah, Anton Arcane, 1973.
Excellent.
Hey,
He beat you
it's
to the
just-
punch.
As I'm working today, I'm like trying to figure out who's going to be where, and then I'm like, oh God, Arcane, he's just so vicious and vile and nasty, and and the Unmen. Just, I mean, how can you ever forget the hand with the head?
With the head on top of it, right?
Yeah, pretty
Great
nasty.
imagery, and this is even before Bassett.
And that got through the Comics Code.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say that
Yeah.
got through Comics Code stuff.
Yeah,
That's
crazy
crazy shit.
stuff. Yeah,
All right. So why don't we go on to John? You're number
you
2.
do Anton Arcane too.
No. Remember, again, I don't dive that deep. My number 2.
The shallow diver over here.
He's at the shallow end.
I'm in the shallow end of the pool. No, my number 2 is
The arc of a shallow diver.
Black Adam. I love Black
Oh,
Adam.
nice. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
just again, they turned him into a hero at one point, or he was on the JSA for a while in the 2000s, and it worked that way too. But then he went back to what he's supposed to be doing. Black Adam is the kind of inverse of Captain Marvel. They both get their powers from the
Shazam.
Yeah, they both get their Shazam powers from
Can
the Rock
you-
of Eternity.
can you
I
name
cannot do the
No.
Black Adam one. I can do the.
I thought we did them once.
I think we struggled at it, and
Yeah.
I looked it up, and I went, wow, there's no fucking way.
Right, because there's gods that you never have heard
Right.
of.
Well, it's
for Black Adam,
and it was based on different gods.
Right.
Like so, Captain Marvel's based on Greek mythology,
Greek,
correct?
yeah, yep.
And Black Adam was based on, I think,
mostly-
African or something. Definitely not Greek mythology.
Middle Eastern, maybe.
Yeah. So he does the same thing. He says,
don't remember.
He says
Honestly,
Shazam.
I don't remember either.
He's Teth
I'm
Adam.
not a-
He's an Egyptian from way back when.
Yep.
He gets the Rock of Eternity, ends up there. He says Shazam, and he's granted all the same powers as Captain
I
Marvel.
did read a bunch of JSA that had Black Adam. in it.
And you know what? The other thing about him is besides just being a cool character, one of the things I always like about him is he floats all the time. So he's always like creepily floating, no matter what.
He's superior to you.
He's superior.
That's why.
That's
Like-
what
like
that's
the
what I'm saying.
brother in Salem's
I
Lot.
like the fact that this is a character that's straight up superior. That comes up a lot.
Yeah, right?
He's superior to
You
everybody
need to
else.
see that.
He's superior to everybody else. And again, visually design, he just looks awesome. He looks
Yeah.
like Mr. Spock on steroids
Yeah.
and really pissed off. And as opposed to the big red cheese with that red costume, which is great in its own right, he's got the black costume.
suit,
And who doesn't
yeah.
want the black version? If you were going in your closet, you had the red and the black, you're wearing the black every fucking time.
So
Could be blue.
The Rock.
I have no problem with The Rock playing him. I just
either.
don't understand how they're going to make a black. I now that they're doing a
It should be Colin
Shazam-
Kaepernick.
Now that they're doing a Shazam movie, I understand.
Ow.
I just
Really?
don't. Before there was that property that they were even talking about, they were
Right,
still
right.
talking about Black Adam, and I don't think you can have one without the other.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume in a few months when Shazam comes out that the stinger is going to involve Black Adam somehow or another.
Okay.
That's my assumption because they've really been talking about this fucking movie for years now. Black Adam.
Yeah.
Again,
Never gonna happen.
yeah,
It's one of those multiple movie or many movies that The Rock has been attached to.
right.
That's been talked about, hinted at. He says, "Yeah, I'm in."
Do you
and
remember?
then it never comes around.
Do you remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger was attached to a Sergeant Rock movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Do
And
you remember when Bruce Willis was attached to it too?
Yep. And what did we end up with?
I remember
Nothing.
Mr. fucking Freeze.
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid.
Smoking a cigar too.
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid and hearing
Chill out.
friends of mine talk about they were going to make a live action Silver Surfer movie.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like 1981,
Oh, yeah, that was-
82.
yeah.
I was 6 or 7 years old, and I remember friends going, "Oh yeah, Silver Surfer."
We couldn't get Doug Jones
doing
early
that.
enough.
Yeah.
I remember they said that at one point that they actually got a board. They were doing an actual piece of a prop,
A physical effect,
that they
yeah.
could get to float.
Yep.
And I think it was like Dykstra and those guys from Star Wars, and they were able
Yeah.
to figure out how to get the float. But again,
Len Dykstra?
Yeah, Lenny Dykstra.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah,
Going off the rails here at the pint.
Hey, why not?
The horn pimping guy from the Mets and the Phillies.
Jumping right into sports.
Let's not.
All right, so let's move on to our number ones.
Number one?
John, what is your number one?
My number one. I want to see if Johnny Ganache can pick my number one.
Villains?
Yep. Do it. Come on.
Villain. Don't do that. I hate that. I hate people do that shit. Stop.
You got one choice.
One guess.
Yeah, one guess. That's it.
It's not Lex Luthor. There's
Nope.
no way it's Lex Luthor.
Nope.
You're gonna go weird because you said no Batman, Superman. So Wonder Woman, she has no good villains.
Well, sure she does.
Sullivan Grundy.
No,
Almost made
it's
the
not gonna be Black Manta.
almost made the list.
I'm trying to think again. I didn't read the whole Suicide Squad run from the '80s because that would have definitely played into it. I'm assuming, but I don't know.
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Okay.
Number one. Deadshot is the best of the villains I have ever seen written. And most of that comes from John Ostrander and Kim Yale's version of the Suicide Squad. But things that have happened after the fact also are very good. Prior to the New 52 bullshit that I've never read. So
You just gave John's list more credence.
I feel better now.
Yeah, John's was number 4.
Deadshot is such a cool character, and I love the design. I love the look. How many villains have gotten their own miniseries?
Yeah, no, not a lot.
Right. Deadshot's gotten 2.
Right.
So
Lobo.
well, yeah. Is he a villain?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
You think?
Well, he's another one of those anti-heroes.
Yeah, he's kind of in that whatever.
Right.
He's certainly not a hero.
Billy
Yeah, I think
Bobo.
Deadshot has definitely shifted in the last several years, even before the New 52.
Well, that's the problem.
Into
I have.
more of an anti-hero.
He should never
Right.
shift into an anti-hero. He is who he is.
Right, he's a
That's
killer.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he was on Secret Six when Gail Simone wrote it,
Right,
she
right.
got the character. She understood it. Pre-52 bullshit, so fuck you, 52.
All right,
Fuck you, Dan Didio. Fuck you, Dan Didio,
right,
for
Deadshot.
fucking me over.
It looks like I'm going to have to read some more stuff
Dan
with
Didio,
Deadshot.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns.
I would probably tongue kiss Jeff Johns for everything he ever did.
Would
for
you?
the
But would
JSA.
you tongue punch him in the fart box?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
But
I'm
I
gonna
would
pass.
definitely
All right.
It's a hard
fist
pass on
punch Dan Didio in the fart box.
Okay.
All right, Mark, what would you do to Dan Didio's fart box?
I would tongue punch him with John's tongue.
All right.
Oh,
That's
Thanks
the
a
correct
lot.
answer.
You're welcome.
That's not
All
what I
right,
wanted
so
to hear either.
my number one,
did I fuck you over?
Oh, no.
Jerry Robinson's
The Joker.
The Joker.
All right.
I mean, here's a character who was introduced in 1940, and he is stuck with the Batman ever since.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he has been the biggest nemesis.
How often do you see him not up against Batman?
Right.
Right.
I mean, he's one of those characters who he has no superpowers. He's nuts. He's clever. I mean, he's savage. And he's been there since almost day one. It's okay that I'm glad that they use him sparingly because it's like Doctor Who and the Daleks. I see another freaking Doctor Who episode of the Daleks, I'm going to scream. It's like, come up with something a little more,
Kill the doctor.
Yeah. Exterminate.
Exterminate. Exterminate.
Bring something a little more original. Let's come. I mean, at least this past Doctor, yes, we did have a Dalek, but we had some other interesting characters. Now with
What do the Cybermen yell out? Delete. Sorry.
It's all right.
All right.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. I just don't ever fucking come back here.
Oh, yes, you will.
Oh, man.
Maybe if we do the thing. Oh, you already did
You
that.
already
We
did the
did
thing.
that.
I
You get
know.
to choose whatever movie you want. All right.
No,
Hurry
but
up,
I
hurry
think
up, I gotta
my
pee.
number one is the Joker.
Number one's the Joker.
Yeah.
All right.
Because of everything that John said.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Well, thank you.
Everything that you
Thank
said.
you.
Can't beat that.
My last two have kind of they made me feel good. These last two.
Not only that, but you read your list, you recognize every single thing there.
See? Look at
Anybody could look at that and say, I know all those guys.
I didn't even mention the silver monkey the entire time we were talking. So.
Jesus Christ! Write that down. I want to find out what that is.
Silver Monkey.
All right. So my number one to end this off. This is the one that I'm either going to get weird looks or you're going to go. That was an interesting choice.
Is it chemo?
It's not chemo or chemo.
Chemo?
Is it
No,
Prez?
No, Prez. Yeah. No, my number one DC villain, and someone mentioned it earlier today. It might have been John. It was when we were talking about the Madame Rouge, and you said because she did what she set out to do. My number one villain in the DC universe technically isn't in the DC universe, but he was published by DC, and now I guess he is Ozymandias. He set out to do what he wanted to do, and he did it.
Ozymandias, yes.
Right?
He is still
Adrian Veidt.
Veidt.
regardless of like all my non-companies being bought out by DC and all that.
Right.
He is a DC. Well, he's creation for DC.
For DC. Yeah. He wasn't a Charlton character because they couldn't use them.
Right.
So
not couldn't.
Didn't.
Right.
Alan Moore was asked not to use them.
Here's a character who is a hero who sees the world going into the toilet.
Oh, he's a total villain.
He's a hero to begin with. He has noble intentions. He sees the world a certain way, and his heroic response to that is to cause a threat that is going to make the U.S. and the Soviets come together.
Yeah.
Space squid.
Yeah.
Well, space
and
vagina.
We'll kill as many people as possible.
He is going to kill as many people as it takes to get the people to understand that this threat is worse than the two of us together. And he pulls the whole thing off. And then he has the great moment in the book at the end where he explains what he did. And one of my favorite lines that I remember, there's a lot of lines in comics that are great. There's not a lot that I could say I remember it, like the quote. I love when Owlman and Night Owl, and Rorschach are confronting him in his lair. And I think it's Dan Dreiberg. It's Night Owl says, we have to stop you doing this. And he's like, Dan, I wouldn't tell you this if I hadn't
already done it.
I did it 30 minutes ago.
30 minutes ago, right?
Which is one of the problems I had with the movie is it was just like lines taken from the book. It's not an adaptation anymore. It's just just a version.
It's psycho.
But I love that character. And again, besides the fact that you can say, yes, they did that before Watchmen stuff and they're doing the Doomsday Clock stuff now. In all reality, he exists in a 12-issue channel only.
Yeah.
Right? So he's only had 12 issues. There's no...
He's never appeared anywhere else other than before Watchmen.
Before Watchmen and Doomsday Clock. There was never anything after that, right, that they brought those characters into.
Nope.
I mean, because other Watchmen characters have.
No.
Have they not?
No. Nope.
No, before Watchmen and Doomsday
Before
Clock.
Watchmen and Doomsday Clock. And before Watchmen was 2012.
I must be thinking just Doomsday then.
So, and that's 86 was Watchmen. So you're, 30 years later.
Okay.
Basically. And so for me, I guess the idea behind that is that, like you said, the Joker has such a great long history, but there are points where you go, okay, that story might not have been great, or this writer, maybe didn't do it that well. There's 12 issues with Ozymandias in it.
Right.
12 issues for you to go, this guy fucking really, and then when you get to the end and you kind of find out, like, the entirety of his plan, he kills the comedian, all the stuff that he's done to set all this stuff up. And then the one character... again, I had to kind of struggle not to put Rorschach in my heroes because he is a hero. He's crazy again, but and you get the one guy who in the end isn't turned by his charm. He explains it, and Manhattan goes along with it.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. I've been having a problem with the way I see these humans, and you're right. And Night Owl is powerless to do anything, and Rorschach is the only one that's like, I'm not putting up with this. And Manhattan snaps his fingers and he turns into a pile.
Oof, right.
And this guy has turned everything against it. And that's kind of why I've read a little bit of the Doomsday Clock, and it kind of, I read it, but I put it into another category because you're making a sequel to something that doesn't need a sequel.
Right.
And now
I'm not even reading it as a sequel.
I'm not either. I'm just saying
I'm reading it
a curiosity.
Well, initially when I'm not even up to the current issue because the goddamn thing is so goddamn slow as coming out.
I stopped reading it. I'm collecting it.
I'm doing the same thing.
What am I, issue 6, 5 or 6?
I only read the first three.
Yeah. So the problem I have with it is it's so obvious what it's trying to be. And if it was supposed to be a fix for the DC universe, it's failing in multiple ways. One, not being published on time.
Right.
And two, being an obvious fix. But I don't know.
All right, Lloyd, cover our lists one more time, and then we'll go over some listeners' lists.
All right, so
that's Jeff Johns, just like
Sir John's list. Number 5,
someone.
Madame Rouge. Number 4, a tie, Despero and Clarion the Witch Boy. Number 3, Vandal Savage. Number 2, Anton Arcane. And number 1, Deadshot.
Deadshot.
Mark. Number 5, Chemo. Number 4, Brotherhood of Evil. Number 3, Darkseid. Number 2, Anton Arcane. And number 1, Joker. And Johnny Ganache. Number 5, Sinestro. Number 4, Deadshot. Number 3, Joker. Number 2, Black Adam. And number 1, Ozymandias.
What are yours?
Yeah, Lloyd, you got yours?
Well, yeah, it's not. You read those lists, and I'll get to mine after.
Okay, so the listener list, again, we got our buddy Stu from the Ghost of the Stratosphere. It's a great podcast. Check them out. They talk. These guys, we got comics in our name, but these guys actually talk comics every single episode. Check them out at gotstratosphere.com. Stu's Villains, number 5, Joker. So we got another Joker. Number 4, Sinestro. Number 3, this is a cool one. I do like this guy, Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Number 2, another Flash villain from the Rogues Gallery, and another cool villain, Captain Cold.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
This guy also had Flash as his number 1 hero, correct?
He had Flash as his number 1 hero. Yeah.
Yep.
Now I wonder if in his head when he reads Captain Cold in the comics, if he talks like this.
Yes.
Well, Mick, let me tell you what we're gonna do about that. You see, Flash, I don't like you.
Hey. Now do him as he is on Legends.
The new version of him?
The gay version.
Oh, yeah.
As Wentworth Miller?
You mean the gayer version?
No. The actual gay version.
Oh, see, I'm not caught up to that point.
Oh, you haven't said God. It's like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I'm still in season 3.
Spoiler alert.
It's okay. No such thing.
See, I walked from that show 2 seasons ago.
I did.
Me too. That's. I only see him
I bailed
when
in
it's in
season
the
1.
crossovers, those horrible crossovers.
Yeah, the Crisis ones.
Yeah.
Well, I got a good laugh out of that, so I'm going to read the rest of the list this way.
Let's hear the rest of this,
what-
John.
His number 1 villain. This is Stu from Ghost of the Stratosphere. Doomsday, the man who punched Superman to fucking
In the
death.
fart box.
Right in the fart box. Dan from Boom Tube Comics, proprietor of a wonderful comic store. You can find them online, Mick, at www.boomtubecomics.com. Dan, number 5, picked the one that Johnny Ganache picked, Black Adam. Keeping in line with the black named characters, he went with Black Manta, number 4. Number 3, he went with Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, which is the first Reverse Flash. I can't do it anymore.
There was another one?
Yeah, there was later on in the Jeff Johns run, there was, what was his name? Solomon Hunter. He was Zoom.
That's Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse Flash was Professor Zoom.
Yeah, I know that.
Right.
But he was called Zoom, not Reverse Flash.
Oh, I thought they were both. Okay,
No. It's Zoom.
Okay, all right. So Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne. Okay. Number 2, he was born on a Monday. Mark, who would that be?
Solomon Grundy.
Okay, and number 1 for Dan from BoomTube Comics. Check him out. Great store in Southington, Connecticut, 1475 Marion Waterbury Turnpike.
On my GPS it says Milldale.
That is Milldale.
All right.
Riddler.
Riddler.
Riddler is his number
It's a
one.
first
Number
time,
one.
right?
Number
First
1.
Riddler.
See,
First Riddler.
If we sat Dan down at the table here, it'd be a fun discussion over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dan's coming.
Yeah, Dan's great.
Dan's coming. He wants to come. And Ray, who we met at
he had
BoomTube.
Chemo on there too.
He did. He had Chemo as also Ray. Ray, young guy that we met at BoomTube, cool kid. Number 5, Deathstroke.
Okay, all right.
The Terminator. Number 4, hooking up with Dan on this thought process, Riddler. Number 3, from Mark's list, Darkseid or Side. Number 2, oh Christ, here we go again, Reverse Flash. Which version is it? I don't know. And number 1, the man who Wonder Woman snapped his neck after he shot Blue Beetle in the head.
Maxwell Lord.
Maxwell Lord.
He picks Maxwell Lord.
So Lloyd, give us the Manster list real quick.
All right, the Manster list of villains. Now, if you heard the Heroes podcast, I didn't read a lot of DC, so most of mine come from Vertigo, but not all of them. So number 5, Joker. Number 4, Skinner Sweet.
Oh,
Anyone know
American
who that
Vampire.
is?
American
Yeah, American
Vampire.
Vampire.
Never read that, but I do know the name.
Yep. Number 3, Anton Arcane.
Oh,
Number 2, Air Star from Preacher.
Air Star.
And number 1, you gotta love him, Saint of Killers.
Say, yeah.
Yeah.
From Preacher also.
You're gonna put the Santa Killers as a villain.
You know what? I'm gonna side with John.
No.
That's fine.
I thought of
say
Saint of
that.
Killers.
I don't know.
I thought of Saint of Killers, and I thought I can't put him. This is just a guy avenging. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
But he is a great character.
Call him what you want.
great
I just put
character.
him on my list as number one.
And
I get it,
Airstar
I get
had the dickhead. Remember when he had the
Yeah, it was hilarious. Trying out all the wigs and hats and stuff.
The demon made my list of not quite heroes or not quite villains as well.
Right,
So,
right. I mean,
I don't know if I mentioned that.
Kirby Kirby never really liked doing horror books. But when he came over, DC said, we got to do a horror book. Swamp Thing is wrapped, or at least Swamp Thing at that point was kind of really fading.
Yeah.
And that's when he came up. He meshed around with Merlin and all that stuff.
I still think that's one of the best things he ever did.
Oh, I agree.
You know,
I absolutely agree. Because
every other thing that I ever read that Kirby did, I'm like,
it was self-contained. It was like 16 issues, not even maybe.
Fun.
And
I don't think
the first issue I ever bought. So let's see, he was 1970 something. I was probably 9. Yeah, so I was 9. So I remember getting the first issue. The first issue I ever bought of Kirby's Demon was number 5. That was with the Howler, and it was just this weird character who was trapped, and he would turn into the savage beast. And here I am. I'm 9 years old. Excuse me. And I'm reading this. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell is this? You know, because at that point, before that, I was reading like Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden,
no Yang for you.
No Yang, just Shang.
Shang No Yang.
Yang is the Yang is the Charlton
From the
version
Charlton.
of Shang.
Yeah.
Yang.
And
Shang No Yang.
yeah, and,
Shang No
I,
Yang.
and I just remember reading that and going, wow, it just blew me away. And then at that point, I was like, I got to get the rest of them. And yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we're heading out. We're backing
good
out of this
comics.
episode of Pine of Comics. And this is the final episode in our Heroes and Villains. Mark, thanks for coming down.
Oh, thank you.
thank
This
you.
is
All the
last-
way from South Hadley, Massachusetts.
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, I thought you said you live in
Springfield.
South. Oh, you work in South Hadley.
Work in South
You
Hadley.
live in Springfield.
East Forest Park represent.
Yo, if you want to give out your information one more time, Mark, so people can check you out online and all that good stuff.
Sure. www.masztal.com. Put a backslash of I am Nomad. Nomad number 2 is out. Eventually, I'm going to get around the 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've got the whole thing written. I know how it ends. I just got to draw the damn thing.
All right.
And here's the tagline, and I love this: Nomad, legend, protector, brother, human.
Human?
He is Nomad. If you ever do a
gotta get some
commercial,
of
can I do
these.
the voiceover for that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
I just have to laugh. I mean, the George R.R. Martin comment. I mean, if anyone didn't hear that,
What did Lou say?
I said he's like the George R.R. Martin of comics.
Oh,
I've got to get around to
I will finish it, but I still have.
We don't want you to die before you can
don't
finish it.
say that.
But I still have. I still have
That's the George R.R. Martin.
I still have the Chronicles of
He's still
Sharpay to
alive.
finish up. And
Yeah,
then
really.
I got the 2 secret Steve Bissett projects to do, and then
secret.
another secret project that'll be coming out that's done, which I told you guys about, which we can't talk about
Yep.
on the air.
Nope.
Yeah, and then BingCon is looking at tentatively October 26th of 2019.
And we will be there.
All right.
I
right.
will be there.
With bells on.
So check Mark out, and thank you so much, Mark, for coming on. And Mark will be on again very soon because Mark has been invited for the movie invitational. He'll figure out his movie, and we'll figure that out. And this is Pine of Comics, www.pineofcomics.com. And Lloyd, where should people check us out for video content?
That's a YouTube channel.
That's right.
Pine of Comics.
And what do you want to do? You want to, first of all,
You want to subscribe, and then you want to ring that little bell.
ring the bell and get notifications every single time a video comes out. Pine of Comics, see ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.